Sweet tits, it got cold quick. Alright, so I'm calling it a night. I've been out here most of the day and it's starting to get fucking cold. So anyways, my buddy came over. We actually had to mess with his car first. He's got a STI, had a put an upgrade, Mishimoto radiator I think in it, and it's wide in the stock, so the hose rubbed on the fan and blew out, so we had to replace radiator hoses. But he also helped me with the brakes while he was here and the clutch. So this now has tension. This is now about as far as I can pull it back. I don't know if you can see that lever gap, but it's got a lot of tension. So I discovered these little doodads, and I'd seen them up here, and I didn't know for the life of me why they were here necessarily, and none of the videos I've ever seen on bleeding brakes for motorcycles have they ever bled from here. Now maybe you don't have to normally once this system is bled out. I mean, your normal circumstance, I guess you wouldn't have to, but unless you changed out the cylinder. But this thing's been dry for a while, like most of these were empty. But anyways, as soon as we cracked this one, a huge rush of air just poured through the hose, and then it had the nastiest crud of fluid ever come through it, which is funny because I already reverse bled it from both sides into this and cleaned it out, but yet it still had it. Same thing over here, whole bunch of nasty gunk. The rear doesn't have any kind of bleeder valve on the cylinder itself that I know of. But yeah, I mean, I just thought it would bleed traditional like a normal vehicle, where you just, you can reverse bleed through the caliper up to the reservoir, or you could do the whole pump, crack it, etc. But anyways, so on to the issues. This is, I need to know where this goes. This little hose has a bolt hole dealio. I thought it went here, but it doesn't seem to want to line up to it right now. I don't want to bend it because I'm pretty sure it's already bent to the right angle. I just can't for the life of me figure out where it goes, because there's a clip here. Now I would think it bolts somewhere up here because it's tied down, or it wraps around the forks up here. And if you hear my voice sounding like it's vibrating, it's because I'm literally shivering. Not used to this cold. We just got the cold front, so it'll take a little while for me to start getting used to this shit. Anyways, I think I need to replace the battery because it's acting weird, doing some strange things. After I'd had everything plugged in, I went to try to jump the bike off again because you see I have some oil in it now. So I was gonna get some pressure built up in the motor and get some oil thrown to coat everything, just kind of flush the oil through the system. And anyways, when I hooked up this negative with everything plugged in, the cluster started doing some crazy shit. Like the little shift lights blinked a couple times. This was showing like a trip. And then I started disconnecting this stuff up front because I didn't have any of this hooked up whenever I did the compression check. So I disconnected some of that. Went back, tried to do it again. This time it was showing different shit on the screen. This time it was like all the notifications that show up on the digital display were showing up. And it was kind of odd. They were kind of like they came on, and then some of them were going off and going back on. So then I came back and disconnected this. Still did it. So then I disconnected this, which I'm guessing this is the main power lead that feeds this side harness. So after doing that, it wasn't drawing any current. So anyways, I tried to turn the motor over with the little jump trigger deal, jumping off with the solenoid. But anyways, it turned the motor over about once, and then it just stopped. And then now the solenoid just kind of clicks. So I was like, oh shit, my solenoid burned out. Nope. Pulled these wires back, jumped it off with a screwdriver straight across these points, which pretty much just completes that circuit for this big ass starter wire to the positive lead, and doesn't turn anything, just nothing. So my instant fear was, remember this motor came used. The original motor is this one that's blown, spun a bearing. So my original fear was something in this motor screwed and it turning finally, like something got lodged in it. I don't know, whatever. I just hit that worst case panic. So I grabbed a wrench, put it on the sprocket, and rotated the motor. It turned one lobe, and then I busted the bolt loose. So now I have to wait on the chain to get that torqued back, so I can put the chain on the rear wheel and lock the brake so I can torque that down. That's the other kicker. I don't have the key yet. I don't have a chain for it yet. The owner, or currently still owner, has the key, the chain, and is still waiting on the title to come in. He's supposed to be bringing me the key and the chain tomorrow, so I can keep working on it. And he should be bringing me the title whenever it comes in. Hopefully it will be soon. But I'm hoping maybe I'll get lucky and it's something stupid, because a new starter is $200 and a used one off eBay starts at like 40 bucks and goes on up to 80 to 100 or something like that. And from what I can tell, it's just these two bolts down here, which you probably can't see at all. This one that my finger's on, that. So there's that one and the one next to it right there. I think it's just those two bolts and the whole thing just slides out. So I have to take this reservoir off, which will have to come off anyways, because the other thing I need is that little nipple down there by my finger. The hose for that comes up and has the filler cap that goes somewhere up here. Still waiting on that. That's a special order part. So I need it. So the other stuff that I did today was I hooked this up. I ran this line. I believe this is what actuates the flapper. At least I'm hoping that is. It might actually be, yeah, it should be this. So that's the flapper. Flapper comes back, feeds into this side piece. Then from here, it goes back into that, and then from here, back down. So this I ran, one-way check valve, flowing this way, back towards the vacuum, towards the engine. So it ran up, and I ran it to underneath there, that back one. Then I ran this for the clutch. This one here by the throttle position sensor, I believe. I'm guessing that's what that is. And it Y's off, comes around, Y's right here, and connects right here. Then it comes down, it's got a one-way check valve again, pointed towards the vacuum, and connects to the clutch. So that's what I've got done today. Also routed these wires, this big chunk bundle thing, plastic covered, whatever. Routed them around, down and around underneath the clutch casing, because from looking at pictures, that's how it actually is done. This thing points downward and the cables wrap around, and that's for the brake switch, the lambda sensor, O2 sensor, whatever the hell this is, and what actually, I guess, I'm really not sure. I guess that's a speed sensor back here. Yeah, I guess that's a speed sensor that goes on the rear tire, because that's the brake switch. So that's what I did today. Oh, and this clear. Got this drain line with plug that runs up to here. So airbox and all got put back on, and I decided to check the fuel pump, which is this mess. So we put fuel in the tank, jumped it off with these. It's the orange and the black. The black is ground, orange is your sending unit for your fuel level. And the other side, blue, as you can see from that, blue is your ground. Green is your hot. And you can tell that once you pull it apart right here. Green positive, Blue negative. So, I wasn't getting shit. It was, had the amp meter hooked up because I found online where they said the fuel pump should draw about 4 amps while running. They said it'll spike as soon as it kicks on, like when it primes, but then it should draw 4 amps. They said if it draws more than that, chances are you have a clogged fuel filter, and that's causing it to draw more amps to try to pull the fuel through the shitty fuel filter. So I hooked the amp meter to it, jumped it off, and the amp meter just like maxed out. It showed like the 1 with nothing else, 1 at the very beginning, and just like nothing else, as if it can't read that high because it's a 20 amp max. So it just kind of clicked, it arced because I was just touching it to negative, arced, and we heard like a little click from the pump, I think, and nothing else. Never flowed any fuel. I tapped it once just to see, and whenever it clicked and arced, I didn't. The amp meter showed so high, I didn't want to hold it and risk shorting something. So checked all the connections, make sure we didn't have a short. Did it again, held it for a second. I was like, maybe this just takes a sec for this pump to prime. Held it for a sec, nothing. So we pulled it apart, put it in a cup, jumped it off directly from these pins down here with some wires, flowed fine. So I was like, all right, well, maybe it's this connector. I had heard that it gets worn in this section where it feeds from the inside and outside of the tank, and people have to replace this or rewire this section. So I wired it up with this deal and jumped off these, just how we were earlier. Again, flowed fine. Nothing, no problem. So I have no clue why this thing didn't work earlier. I mean, I don't think that it has to have any kind of anything on these. I'm pretty sure these are just like vents or drains. And then we had both of these sitting over gas but not in it. This should just be a return, and then that should be the pressure side. So I wouldn't think this needed to be in gas for it to flow, since our testing wise it flowed fine, but I don't know. Regardless, it'll be going back together tomorrow and sealed back up, so at least that'll be back to one piece. I'll be taking this battery that I think is bad to one of the parts stores to test, and then picking up another battery if I need it. And I'll take that starter just in case they can chalk it up in their tester and see if it works. And we'll find out if I need to order a starter. But other than that, that's where we're at. Oh, I had to order another piece too. This rear saddle piece. All I've got is the actual top cover piece, which is, just to give you an idea what it looks like. Right there. So I've got the top cover piece, no inside. So I had to order the base. And of course, frickin' specialty order part, no one has them. eBay doesn't have a used one, so I'm having to, luckily it's not an expensive part, but regardless, it's another 2 to 3 weeks to wait on that piece. Judging from my cluster stuff, I might have electrical shit to troubleshoot as well. So joy. But that's where I'm at. If somebody would please tell me where this thing goes, like I said. And I really think I'm fine on the wiring. I just kind of routed this harness down, and it kind of loops down here. You can see it sitting right there. And it just kind of loops back up to right here where it connects to stuff. And I guess if I get the light, you can see shit. Yeah, so it just comes back up right there. And my vacuum lines, how I have them hooked up. And the other side is ran down, around. It just loops down into this jumbled mess by the coils. And then up and out right here. And it gets zip tied here and on up the front. Don't know if that's exactly how that goes. And like I said, this wire clip on this side, I know goes to that little thing. But so that's it. thanks for watching, and if anyone wants to tell me where that little clutch line bracket thing goes, much appreciated. And thank you to anyone and everyone that's given me input and helped out with this. I've been just having to research everything online and read up galore and learn stuff the hard way, so it's been fun. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys.